ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Tuesday, January 20th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. We are going to get it started with our text line. We do that at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's the number to be a part of today's show. Ben Anderson on the controls today, keeping us on the air. We appreciate him being a part of the show. We're going to also give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to go see the Herd take on ULM. That's going to be on Thursday, so we're going to give you a chance to win tickets today. So you know how to do that. The text line, that's how you get in to win. And again, one more time, just in case you popped in just a few seconds late, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So it was a big night last night for the Indiana Hoosiers, getting the win over Miami, 27-21. This is the first national title for the Hoosiers in football. The last undefeated college basketball team, Indiana, the current and last undefeated team in college football. I know that one's a little easier to do, but Indiana, 16-0, first 16-0 team in FBS. And of course, I did see where the graphic was posted. Hey, only so many teams are 15-0, and again, the distinction being Marshall was in the then 1AA ranks, 15-0. Winning national championship, obviously a thrill for all of us that were there during those years. But the Indiana Hoosiers doing the unthinkable. This is a team that at one point was, I think, win-loss record the worst team or had the most losses in college football. And now it's moved up a little bit, but it doesn't matter what the win-loss record is because the Indiana Hoosiers are the national champions. And then what does that say about the SEC? I know that's come up a lot. The last three champions come from the Big Ten. You had Michigan, Ohio State, now Indiana. Which team's next? I mean, is Northwestern going to win a championship? That would be something to watch Northwestern do it. So, good win for the Hoosiers. I like the U. I know a lot of people were saying last night on social media, it was kind of funny, the U is not back. No, the U is back. College football is more fun when Miami is good. I believe that wholeheartedly. I used to believe that Conference USA was better when Southern Miss was one of the flag bearers for the league. I don't know how I feel about that now for the Sun Belt because this is a different group of schools. But as far as college football is concerned, Miami being good absolutely is good for college football. And I hope the U is going to be back for many years to come. And honestly, it's going to help the ACC to have a team like Miami being one of the best. They just got to figure out those conference championship rules and those tiebreakers. The fact that Miami was held out of the conference championship, ultimately it doesn't matter. It's the national champion runner-up. But still, just to hold Miami out of the national championship picture, put that online because, put that possibly, out of reach because, well, they weren't a conference champion. Luckily, they got in. And I think that performance last night and throughout the playoff kind of vindicates Miami's inclusion. And, of course, now there's the talk of the 16. We might get to 16. And I think that would be fine. We get that to 16, we could be okay. I know we had someone talk about 32. I don't know. I mean, I'm here for it, but I don't know if that's viable. 16, 24, I wouldn't go too much further into that. But, again, you've got the bowl system. That's going to be something that you got to talk about as well because, again, all these properties that ESPN owns, you just don't want to give up a lot of this inventory and give up a lot of what you own based off of the potential to have a championship. And that's where the problem is because television is running this. The money, television, a couple of the conferences are really running this. But it doesn't matter. The system worked for Indiana, and the Hoosiers are national champions. All right, our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got a busy night. Coming up at 7:05, it's going to be Inside Marshall Basketball with head coach Cornelus Jackson and head coach Jolie Folks. Of course, the women coming off a tough loss against ODU, losers of two straight. The men, nice win against JMU. So you'll get their thoughts on what happened last week and look ahead. That's all coming up tonight. We'll have the Coaches Show for you, 7:05 here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and on 93.7 The Dog. Also, transfer portal. What we got today? We got, looking at some of the new people that are coming in, you have Chase Ortiz coming in from Stetson, the Hatters, one of the best college names out there. And he was listed as a freshman at 6'1", 201 pounds. He played in 11 games last season. He's a former U.S. Army High School All-American, a 3-time Florida State champion at a powerhouse of a program at St. Thomas Aquinas. And also, I'm going to butcher this name, from Vanderbilt, Terry Nzwabi Ezil, the best I got. Absolutely the best I got. No pronunciation guide there. 6'2", 336-pound defensive lineman is what we got on him. So, a couple of additions. I was looking at Bill Cornwell's notes today. I think Marshall pulled up more from the transfer portal than it lost. And most of the guys that left Marshall haven't really found landing spots just yet. And I highlight that only because if you got something going good, you're taking a chance. If you leave Marshall thinking, okay, I can go elsewhere. And if you're just chasing that dollar, or if you're just chasing, you're looking for playing time. If you're a quarterback, you're like, I want to play. I want to be the quarterback. You put yourself in the portal, maybe you honestly have a shot somewhere else, or maybe you have to maybe drop down a little bit, depending on how good of a quarterback you are, what your goal is, if you just want to play. And for a lot of kids that come to Marshall, maybe looking at Marshall as that next step, that stepping stone. Hey, if I do well at Marshall, maybe I can move, go up a little higher and have an opportunity there. You know, for a lot of kids that are maybe coming from bigger programs, they take a stab at Marshall because it kind of gives them an opportunity to actually get some playing time, showcase themselves a little bit better. And I thought it was interesting to just see, look, if you leave, just because you leave doesn't mean you're going to find a better spot in the transfer portal. But I don't think these kids just yet realize that. Now, we're seeing a lot of kids crazy for high-dollar venues, chasing that big dollar. And unfortunately, it's not going to be ultimately an easy way for the majority of kids that have put themselves in the transfer portal will be able to make money before, if they've got the goods, the next level at the NFL. If they don't have the goods, well, they'll have made a few nice dollars before their season comes to a conclusion in their career as well. Here's the only thing I'm worried about, though, with the transfer portal, as we think about this a little bit more. With more money being put into football, does that mean we're going to see less and less put into the other sports? As you prioritize football and then basketball. Of course, now Marshall is soccer. Soccer's always going to be prioritized. It's a signature sport at Marshall University. And I don't have the pronunciation guide on this one. Marshall men's soccer signing Japanese goalkeeper Kunpei Yamoka. That's the best I've got on the pronunciation guide. And so Marshall's adding a keeper. And you're going to see soccer do well, I think, with Marshall. You're going to see football obviously going to be a focal point. You know, what's that do for the rest of the sports? Basketball is going to be, of course, a little higher than some of the other programs. But what's that do? You spend more of your focus on building up football and, you know, keeping basketball going as well, soccer, and then, you know, do other programs or other sports maybe not get as much attention, or you focus more of your resources towards football. And if the other sports, if you can get something there, if you can cut, you can cut. If you can funnel something there, you'll try that as well. And I'm not talking just Marshall. This is across the board as well. What's that going to look like as programs are trying to compete in football, the money sport, right? That's where the dollars come from. And when's it get to the point where football maybe costs more than it brings in? Or is that just okay, no, we'll just spend more. We'll spend more in the hopes that we can bring more in. Your thoughts coming up, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Cold weather's on its way. And what do you want on those cold, chilly evenings? A warm blanket and a hot cup of cocoa. Well, you know who else wants the same comfort?
Mice. Messy, uninvited guests. They sneak in and leave droppings, chew through your food and packages. Don't let mice take over your home this fall and winter. Call K&B Pest Control. We will kill for your business. Call today, 304-523-4281.
Let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy and Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky, they make it easy to get into a safe, reliable vehicle. Every used car goes through a 117-point inspection, fall into a safe, reliable vehicle, and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland, or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Don't forget, we're giving you a chance to win tickets to go see the Herd take on ULM. That's coming up on Thursday. We got South Alabama tickets. We're going to give you a chance to win later on this week as well. And you can always text in to win at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Welcome back to today's edition of Your Drive. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We got Ben Anderson behind the dials. He's going to actually be picking the winner today, randomly. Oh, you didn't know that, Ben? Yes, Ben is picking the winner today. So throw it in your pitch. Actually, he's going to randomize it. But if you're going to try to sway him, that's your cue to try to sway him as well. But we'll take care of you today. If you text the win, you got a pretty good shot of winning tickets. So we got a couple of tickets we're going to pass on to you for the game. Speaking of the game, we got Marshall and ULM. That's coming up Thursday night. I'm going to be over there at the Cam Anderson Center. Thundering Herd right now, sitting at 12-7. 4-3 in Sun Belt play, and to be fair, I think Marshall should be better right now in league play. The Troy game, I'm going to absolutely excuse. The Georgia State game, I'm not pretty happy about that. But Georgia State has kind of proven it's a better team than it has been. And, of course, we have comments from head coach Cornelus Jackson. He wrapped up his media availability not that long ago. Let's hear from what happened earlier today, what Coach Jackson thinks about what happened the week ahead.
Talking about this week. Obviously, big week coming up. Looking forward to defending home court. That's what it's all about, right? We were fortunate enough to have 4 in a row at home, and we need to defend home court on Thursday and then carry that momentum into Saturday. But it's a big week. We had a solid win over JMU. We've had a few good days of practice. I think the guys are really bought in and locked in to what we're trying to get done.
Coach, go back to that game with JMU. Just how much does that kind of energize the team now, especially when you go into this week with kind of get that extra day, I guess, between Wednesday and Thursday a little bit there?
Yeah, it's a quality win. You look at JMU and their records don't really indicate how good they are and how good they have been. So we had to play well. We came back. We changed, made a couple adjustments, and guys made plays at the end. We made our free throws, which I'm very proud of. We were 82%. Because we've been talking about that for a while now. Just late in the games, the league games and across America, college basketball is so close now, right? And a lot of times it comes down to 1 or 2 plays or 2 or 3 free throws. So we made our free throws. We crashed the glass. We had 18 offensive rebounds, which was encouraging because we do a rebounding drill, crash drill is what we call it. And to see them guys carry it over to the game is encouraging. So. Anytime you win is good. We were happy to get the win. Obviously, the crowd was amazing. They were into it. Our players really fed off of it. Again, we just have to keep carrying that momentum into Thursday. I'm one of those guys where I go day by day. We look to win each day. I thought we had a really good practice yesterday on Monday. I thought we had a really good practice today, and we need one more to give ourselves an opportunity to win on Thursday.
Coach, some of the guys that haven't been in the rigors of conference play in the wintertime, starting to kind of feel like, okay, this is what's required every game out to get a win. Even no matter what team's records are, it seems like no matter who you're playing, they're up to the challenge.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Everyone is talented. I mean, you're talking about Monroe coming in here. Well, they have a transfer from Mississippi State and a transfer from Utah. Their starting point guard is 3rd in the league in scoring. I told our guys earlier, we've seen this story before. We talked about Coastal Carolina, their guards, how many shots they take. And these 2 guards coming in here, they take 13 apiece from Monroe, and one of them 3rd in the conference in scoring. So anybody can beat you, in this league. That's the good and bad part about it. I mean, there's no days off. You have to be ready to play. You have to be locked in and focused on the task at hand every game.
Talk about the defensive effort you guys showed against JMU. The last 2 outings, opponent got above 80. This JMU just got barely above 70. How are you hoping the defensive momentum carries through these next 2 games?
You know what? They got going in the second half. Their guard, he had 15 points in probably 4 minutes. He's another guy. He's 4th in the conference in three-pointers made. No, 2nd. I'm sorry. He's 2nd in the conference in 3-pointers made. And we let him get going a little bit in transition. I thought we relaxed after watching the film. Thought we relaxed, and we let him get going, and now he's feeling good. He's in a groove, and then they done a great job of they ran some sets to get him open. And then we, kind of locked in and calmed ourselves down. I thought we got out of character when they went ahead and took some quick shots offensively. And then we just made an adjustment to zone, and that really, I thought, changed the momentum of the game. Played 4 or 5 possessions of zone, and then we got back to man-to-man, and our guys were – again, energized the crowd. I thought the crowd helped us out a lot. I saw Big Matt move like he hadn't moved before. We joked with him yesterday on film, and he said that the game was on the line. And my response was, they start on the line. So if we can get that out of you every game, and there's no hiding now. You showed you can move your feet and be up on ball screens. I thought that really changed the momentum, the zone, and then the energy of the crowd. Our guys fed off of that defensively the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game.
How gutsy is that for you, Coach, to pull that string on the zone when they had been hitting outside shots? So if you're going to play zone, you got to get over, you got to cover the court, right?
Yeah, you know what, Keith, we played them at JMU. Our zone, our 22 to 23 worked pretty well, and I looked at my staff, and I take a journal after every game. Coach Grassi I asked him for advice last year. What advice would you give me? I mean, he's a guy that wins a lot. So he said, Coach, one of the things I do that helps me, I take a journal after every game, and I always look back and make sure I don't make the same mistakes twice or the adjustments twice. So I ran over my journal twice, right, being hard-headed. Looked at my coaching staff during a live play and said, you know what, 22-23 worked for us last game. And they all kind of looked at each other and shook their head, and then I said, yeah, let's go with it. You know, stop being hard-headed. You looked at it in your journal, and it worked. So then we decided to go with it, and I thought that really changed the momentum of the game. You know, they got a shot clock violation. They struggled finishing over Matt because Matt's in the hole. He's used to playing zone. And when they got down there, when they did take a shot, they struggled to finish, and sometimes they hesitated because they saw the size and the length at the basket. So it was good for us.
You need unanimous consent on that, or are you just thinking, I'm going to make the call, but I want them to agree with me? How's that?
Oh, no, I'm making the call. Yeah, I'm making the call. You know what? I didn't ask them. I reminded them that it was good to us. You know, but again, my staff, they do a great job. Some things I ask and some things I go, but I always go with my gut 9 times out of 10. But, you know, that's what they're there for, to bounce ideas. Obviously, we all want the same thing. We all want to win. But, yeah, ultimately, I'm making the call.
Coach, how beneficial has it been when you're closing games out like that to have, be it, you know, Noah or Jalen or Wyatt, to where they kind of each do, you know, one thing really well, like Wyatt's are really good with lob threat, Noah's really good in that mid-range, and Jalen can shoot the three, but at the same time, all three of them can kind of work in all three of those roles to where you kind of keep people guessing a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's kind of positionless. You know, those guys, they made some big plays. They made the free throws. I think Noah missed one, I believe. But again, 82% is big. You know, the Coastal game, Noah and the Beetle kid was going back and forth. And there at the last, I don't know, 7 seconds of the game, we went with one of our late game plays, trying to get the ball back to Noah. Didn't pan out that way. If I had to do it all over again, I probably would just set a screen for him, get the ball, and then, hey, go to the basket. So again, that's the journal, and that's the not making the same mistake twice. He was getting to the basket against JMU. So we ran a couple sets just to kind of clear him out, let him get to the basket. He was fortunate enough to drive in there and make 2 really good plays.
Concerned at all, Coach, about what this weather might mean with South Alabama on Saturday? You're looking that far ahead. I know you're looking at Thursday.
Yeah. We're trying to win Thursday, and then we'll deal with Saturday. You know, when Saturday gets here, you know, I hope it passes, you know, because, again, our fans, I think, give us an advantage. So I want as many people here as possible. Obviously, you know, you have to be safe. But I want as many people here as possible. So we'll worry about that after our game on Thursday.
You mentioned Matt, you mind me asking with his progression and that new role that he's come along with, him or Noah, any of those guys that have been kind of taking on those challenges, how you've seen them progress as it goes on?
Oh, they've progressed tremendously, you know, from the start to now. Whew, big jumps. And you know what's scary? I think they still have 2 or 3 more jumps to make before the season's over. You know, you're asking a guy, Noah, like I said all the time, he's never played the point guard position until now. And he's grown in it, and he continues to grow in it. Matt, he's a scoring threat now. Before he was a defensive guy standing in the middle of a zone and blocking shots. But now he has the freedom, as you saw last game, to fake a handoff and keep it and get to the line. So those guys put in the work. We as coaches, we give them the formula. And we just show them and try to progress each and every day, and those guys have done a tremendous job of it.
Comments from head coach Cornelus Jackson, the Thundering Herd getting set for ULM on Thursday, and then hopefully, weather permitting, South Alabama on Saturday. Your time to react is now. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 on this edition of Your Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Mike Rowe here with a fun fact. Did you know that 50% of the air that you breathe inside your home comes from your crawl space? Yeah. Whether your crawl space is wet, musty, or your floors are bouncy, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to repair your crawl space. Baker's Waterproofing and Basement Authority of West Virginia are now Groundworks. Schedule a free inspection.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Poca Valley Bank locations today. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavallette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with your Tuesday edition of The Drive. Text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Couple things Coach talked about. If you were with us a few minutes ago, we had his presser from earlier in the day. Just wrapped it up not that long ago. A couple of takeaways from me. You know, obviously it's the same things and just a different package. All coaches are that way. ULM's got players too. I mean, we go back. That's the Bob Pruitt template right there. They got scholarships too. They got players too. They got guys that can do this. I mean, he's saying all that because he doesn't want his team to come out and look at this and go, okay, we got ULM coming in here. Their record is not very good. Should be easy, right? No, they don't want that at all over there. Not that mentality. So it's the Jordan mentality, really. You know, you're creating enemies sometimes, or you're coming up manufacturing it. Like, you know, that guy disrespected me, which I absolutely love that, by the way. I'll find a reason. I'll make up a reason to be mad at you, so I can, you know, come out there with enough energy. So I like the approach. Obviously, you know, you respect your opponent, but at the same time, we're talking about ULM here. Let's be quite candid here. With ULM coming into the Henderson Center, this isn't the most important game on the schedule, but it could be the most important game on the schedule, because you look at the standings right now. ULM is 0-7 in conference, 3-16 overall, losers of 9 straight. At this point, do you want to be the first team that loses to ULM in conference? Absolutely not. And if Marshall is the first team to lose to ULM in conference, now Marshall is solid right now. Marshall's at 4-3. That could have been better, but Georgia State has shown it's capable. You got a loss against them. Also, you got a loss against Coastal Carolina, and Coastal's 4-4. And they've shown themselves to be capable. Coastal's on a 3-game win streak. But you come into this game and you talk about they have other players that are good and you got to watch out for them. It's because if you look at ULM and you think that this is going to be an easy game, you're kidding yourself, because ULM can do no wrong, because you're already expecting them to lose. Let's go out there and play loose. And eventually it's going to click for them. They're going to get one of these. Marshall could be the first team that ULM gets. And then that might spark, a little confidence here, and all of a sudden, because they lost to Georgia State by 20. They lost to Southern Miss by 10. They lost at Louisiana 85-79. It was an 84-79 loss to Texas State, 87-73 against Southern Miss. At Kansas State, riddle me this one. At Kansas State, 94-85. Let's see, Louisiana earlier, it was a 76-62 loss. South Alabama went to 2 overtimes. They lost 104-79 at Miami. Okay, that one makes a little more sense. They beat Arkansas Baptist, and they beat Mississippi Valley State. But in conference, they haven't exactly been run out of the building most nights. And we see Marshall let some teams hang around sometimes. And if teams hang around on Marshall has a nice lead, and then those teams make runs. Coaches said it. Hey, good teams make runs. Teams make runs. It's basketball. So expect a run. If Marshall can't put this team away and it starts to make a run, and all of a sudden it feels like, okay, it's kind of getting close. Now, Marshall's job is to put this team away early and put the pressure on ULM to try to expend all that energy to try to come back. If Marshall can put it away early, I think we're good. Make sure the free throw line's not a factor as well. That's another thing. Marshall's got to come out and put this thing away early. Make sure that we're not down the stretch hitting free throws right and left because it's close, and if ULM can win the percentages on the free throw line, and then maybe he has a chance to stay in the game, that's going to have to be key, again, for the Thundering Herd. Don't put this team on the free throw line. Don't start them off on the line. Keep them off the line. Establish a strong lead early. Don't do anything that's going to... Don't do anything that's going to get a stupid foul, a costly turnover. Play consistent. The generic game plan of coaches that speak to the media, the generic game plan of radio sports announcers telling you what the team should do. And, of course, all the detailed stuff that's in Coach's Journal. He definitely, more so now than ever, has been really vocal about what his process has been like. Have you noticed that? The Journal. And, of course, that's a trait of Chris Grassi. Winners like to find out what other winners are doing. I want to know how broadcasters are becoming so successful. What are they doing? What pearls can I take? What can I do different? And you do that as well. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. How do you do that? We all do that. And coaches, of course, I think, not stuck in his ways. He's evaluating himself more. Like, okay, what happened? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What did I come up with that worked and I can use again? What did I come up with that maybe didn't work? Why didn't it work? How can I make it better? All of that kind of stuff. So I think Coach has done a really good job as far as adjusting and letting the game come to him. As far as the coach, again, the guys have got to go out there and do it. He can't control the free throw line. If they're out there making mistakes and they're fouling and they're doing things that are costing the team, that's one thing. I don't know can you coach that? Can you coach, hey, hit your free throws? You can put a guy on the free throw line all day in practice and he can hit them all. You got to figure out what it is about the free throw line that sometimes is just the biggest nemesis of players. Absolutely. It's a free throw. We joke that all the time. It's a free throw. You're just standing there. There's nobody in your face. You're just shooting a free throw. It's like kickers. Get a good kicker. You got to have a good kicker. That's your job. Kick the ball through the uprights. And basketball, this should be the easiest shot for you. You're standing there and you're throwing it towards the rim, and it's in the same place, and it's always the same no matter what. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. All right, when we continue, we have got football to talk about, and we've got some news coming out from Marshall that we're going to cover when we continue on this edition of The Drive.
Save big money on your kitchen projects at Menards. We carry everything you need to turn your kitchen dreams into reality. Renovate your space with new cabinets from Cardell. They're ready to install and come in a variety of styles and finishes with free shipping to your home. Visit our kitchen showrooms in-store or go to Menards.com for free estimates today. Plus, get 15% off everything you can fit in the bag. See store for complete details.
Save big money at Menards.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We got an update from Marshall just a couple of moments ago that we got to pass along to you. That way everybody's got the info now. Marshall has just announced game time changes for 3 home contests this weekend. Of course, you heard in the presser earlier about concerns about the winter storm that is projected for the Tri-State. Marshall's basketball home games this weekend will see a time switch. The Thursday game will be from 7 p.m. to 5 p.m., as I'm reading the release as we go here. So 5 p.m. is the new tip time for the game on Thursday. Now, Saturday's game against South Alabama is going to be played now at noon. That changes from its original 4 p.m. time. So noon on Saturday for South Alabama and 5 p.m. for the game on Thursday against ULM. Now, also the swim meet that is scheduled Saturday against Toledo, that will now start at 9:30 a.m. That was originally scheduled for 11 a.m. Of course, winter storm projected, and so for safety reasons, there was a lot of collaboration going on behind the scenes. So Marshall got us this update just a couple of minutes ago. So again, if you are planning on going to the game, it is 5 p.m. on Thursday. It is noon on Saturday. Swimming will be at 9:30 a.m. So hopefully you got it. We'll repeat it again here in just a couple of minutes. Also, earlier in the day, we found out that Marshall has got a schedule update on the football side. And there are going to be a total of 5 games, 4 with Toledo. And then you remember when I told you that the Eastern Michigan game had been taken off the schedule? Well, Eastern Michigan, according to the release, it was a request from Eastern Michigan to adjust the originally scheduled game. And so, according to the press release from Gerald Harrison, he said, quote, "We work to identify a quality replacement to complete our 2026 non-conference slate." And so Gardner Webb has stepped up and will be coming to Huntington. That will be the replacement game for Eastern Michigan, and the Eastern Michigan game will be postponed until a later date. Also, Marshall has signed a 4-game series with former Mid-American Conference rival Toledo. So the Herd's going back to the Glass Bowl. It's been forever since the Herd went back to the Glass Bowl. This is going to be September 7th, 2030, and then the Herd will play host to Toledo on September 6th, 2031, back to Toledo on September 25th, 2032, and then at Jones C. Edwards Stadium once again on September 17th, 2033. So that is the football schedule update. Gardner Webb, that's the replacement for Eastern Michigan. And, of course, Toledo back on the schedule. So why Toledo? Makes perfect sense. Now, for a lot of people, you heard about Toledo. For some of us, we lived it. And Toledo was always a great opponent, quality football team. It was fun. In a way, it was fun to go to the Glass Bowl. It was fun to go see Marshall play Toledo. Those two programs really got after each other. And so that's a great addition, I think, to the schedule. It's an opponent that I think you're going to have some interest in. It's drivable, obviously, so you can drive to Toledo. It's not going to totally be out of the way. It's a haul, but it's Toledo. You can get there. And also, for a lot of Herd fans, it's a rival back in the day in the Mid-American Conference. So that's a good get. But again, back to the time change. Again, Marshall's trying to get this information out as soon as possible. 3 time changes for all the home events this weekend. The men's basketball game against ULM is going to go from 7 p.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday's matchup with South Alabama is going to now be played at noon, and that's from its original start time of 4 p.m. So hopefully we don't see the weather. It misses us, and we're just going to go to basketball early on Saturday. All right, I'm good. We got breakfast and then basketball. Let's do it. I'm all for it on Saturday. Get some omelets. You know what I'm going to do. Go to Tudor's. Yeah, I'm going to Tudor's on Saturday. It's going to be like, I'm treating Saturday like football now. It's like Tudor's. You don't know what I'm getting, right? You have no idea what biscuit I'm getting. You know. You absolutely know. That might be a text question. What Tudor's biscuit will Paul get on Saturday? But did you write all that down? I hope so. Appreciate Marshall University for getting that information to us quickly so we can pass that on to you quickly and make sure that you have it. ULM, 5 p.m. contest now on Thursday, noon start for South Alabama on Saturday, and, of course, the swim and dive meet, swim meet on Saturday against those dreaded Rockets of Toledo. It's going to be 9:30 a.m. at the Frederick A. Fitch Natatorium. So there you have it. All right, text line 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is the text line here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Texter says, tell them to use the backboard. Okay, obvious. That's stating the obvious, but appreciate it. Also, texter says, Paul, the Thundering Herd with melted cheese is the best. Absolutely. Come on. What do you think I'm going for? You think I'm going for like the Mountaineer? I'm not doing the Mountaineer. It's principle. Absolutely not doing the Mountaineer. I'll do. Our producer Ben Anderson's actually debating the Mountaineer. No, you do the Thundering Herd or nothing else. Absolutely. There is no other choice. No, actually there are plenty of choices here. So Saturday when we're all going to the Marshall game, there's going to be a line. I'm going to know why. Actually, I might beat all of you because I got to be on the air at 11 a.m. on Saturday. So I got to be there at 11 a.m. to do the game broadcast, our pregame first. And so I'll probably be ahead of all of you in line. So get out of my way. I'm going to get myself a Thundering Herd. And you know what? I might pick up a Ron. Or I might pick up a Rocket in honor of Marshall's swim and dive meet against the Toledo Rockets. Pick up a Thundering Herd Rocket. There you go. That's the choice we have here. Is there any other choice, really, when you go get a Tudor's Biscuit? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is the text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're going to give you a chance to win tickets. Tickets to the game on Saturday and Thursday throughout the week. So we'll draw here in a few minutes for the Thursday tickets. Texter says, Paul, the Mickey biscuit with a side of fried apples is always good. Ooh, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Now that I think about it, now I'm a big fan of like an apple biscuit. Forget some of the others. Just a straight up fried apples biscuit. And Tudor's has got some of the best. So if we're going that way, give me the biscuit with the fried apples. Too bad I can't put you know what? Give me the Mickey on the side with that. Fried apples, biscuit fried apples, the Mickey on the side. That's good. Okay, so that person is now entered to win our tickets to go see the Herd take on ULM on Saturday. And, of course, we're going to give you a chance to win those tickets on Saturday. I'm sorry, ULM on Thursday, South Alabama. We're going to give you those ticket chances tomorrow and the next day for the Saturday game. All right, right out of time. Don't forget, we're going to be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 as we get closer to the start of basketball at the Cam Henderson Center. The second half of the home slate coming up with the Herd getting ready to take on South Alabama on Saturday. And, of course, the ULM Warhawks coming into the Henderson Center. And here's something, though. This was an interesting stat that was pulled up about them. They commit the second fewest fouls in the Sun Belt. That was an interesting stat that was pulled up at 13.6 per game. So Marshall will not be able to win this on the line. That's probably going to be interesting to watch. Like, okay, if Marshall's in a tight game, ULM isn't going to really put Marshall on the line, and that's interesting to kind of keep an eye on as far as what does Marshall need to do to win that game? Keep itself off the line. Keep Jalen Spear on the court. You got three guys that are in double digits pretty much. And then if you can get Matt Van Komen to double doubles, if you can start those going, I think we're on to something here. And now the music begins. And with that said, it's time to say goodbye. We thank our producer, Ben Anderson. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. All right, tickets coming up. Ben will be selecting the winner for our tickets. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll give you a chance to win more. And, of course, stay by your phone. We'll be naming a winner here in just a moment on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.